Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Zesty Thoughts with your host, Annábla. It's episode 52, which technically is a year's worth of episodes. Although my anniversary has already passed, it was like in June. I didn't really celebrate it. I did more of a celebration for episode 50, but technically today's episode is a year's worth of episodes. So I say I can also celebrate that. Next week is going to be my birthday episode. So as I said before, Cancer season did me well. Leo season has been a little bit all over the place, but we're still celebrating nonetheless. So it was freaking hot today. Summer is in full swing. I am so groggy, I guess, from the heat. I don't know if anybody else gets that. I feel like the average person does, but I just get so lethargic. I'm also a little tired because I was up late last night recording with my friend Dion. Dion was in episodes 39 and 40 with me, so I'll put those in the description. Please go check those 2 episodes out. They were chef's kiss. I want to do more episodes like that so bad. Hopefully there's another one in the mix soon, so I'll keep y'all updated on that. But yeah, I'm, as you can tell, a little bit on the low energy side, but I did want to record today. I actually fully planned to record this morning, but it didn't work out because I was so sleepy and I slept in, or I let myself sleep in a little bit. Still only got 7 hours of sleep. I don't know about y'all. I can't function on under 7 hours of sleep. If I have a night, for example, that's 6 hours and then the next night is 7 hours, I'm a wreck. After I have 6 hours of sleep, if I don't immediately catch up with 8 or more hours, I'm down for the count like I am now. So I apologize in advance for the low energy. It's just going to be a little more relaxed today. Zesty Thoughts ASMR, if you will. You can listen to this before bed or while you're doing your nighttime skincare routine or while you're, I don't know, brushing your teeth, something like that. You feel me? That's definitely going to be the vibe of today's episode. So thanks for coming along with me. First topic of the pod. I can't believe I didn't talk about this in a previous episode because it came out weeks ago, but I have to talk about the Justin Bieber album. I have always been and always will be a believer through and through. I did have a Justin Bieber poster-filled wall as a child. Yeah, I was in love with that man in middle school. So all the drama considered, I've always had a lot of empathy for Justin Bieber and just any child stars, because there's no circumstance in which any of us could actually know what it's like to be in their shoes. And a lot of them, unfortunately, probably deal with really questionable circumstances, whether that be abuse, neglect, getting taken advantage of, if they're not really, 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 really protected. And unfortunately, the majority of them are not properly protected in the industry. But that's a no-brainer. Obviously, that's a whole other topic of conversation. But Justin Bieber's had his questionable moments in the media, and I've always had a soft spot for him because I've always been a fan of his music. And I don't know, I think he said it perfectly. There's actually one there's interludes on the record where he's kind of talking, and one of them he's talking about oh, I've had to grow up in the public eye essentially and make a lot of mistakes, most young adults make mistakes, but he's I've had to do that in front of the world. And then it just made me like so like, it made me feel so sad when I was listening to it, because he was like, oh, and then people ask me if I'm okay all the time. And it makes me feel like everyone else is fine and I'm the one that like has a problem, or like I'm the one that's broken or something. Like he said something along those lines, and I was just like, oh my God. I knew ever since he put out Lonely, like that man goes through some shit for sure. And he's been through some shit, but like when it comes to like paparazzi and the media, and now like social media, like TikTok comments, just like rampant with like judgment and ridicule and like questioning, and like people just like constantly brainstorming, making assumptions, and just like pondering about like your life choices, and just like putting their opinions and, you know, thoughts, and like forcing that onto like very public forums. Like obviously a lot of celebrities are like, yeah, I like try not to read the comments, but like I'm sure a lot of them do. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I can't imagine a world where like that shit wouldn't get to you, especially Hailey. It is what it is. Whatever the narrative surrounding that situation, like her and Selena, whether it's true or not, like, yeah, that's gonna be really hard. I guess that's like all I really have to say about the matter. But I really was so completely shocked by the album. As a project, as a whole, it was so much of a shock to me, like sonically, the way that he went in the best way possible. Like when Taylor Swift started doing pop music, it was like, just do country, you know? To me, it felt like super, like not, it just felt like disingenuous. I've always preferred her like country music. That's not to like invalidate her pop music if that's like what she is more passionate about. It's like my preference, right? But when artists like do stuff that's like left field of what they typically do, you know, slightly, it's like, sometimes it like ruins it for you. And then other times it's like, oh my gosh, yes, like so satisfying. And to me, this project is very satisfying. I love that he just like ironically named it Swag. That's also funny to me. But the project as a whole is really great, in my opinion. Y'all should go listen to it. It's very eye-opening in some ways, but it's also kind of like, I don't know, as someone that's like been empathetic to his situation, and like I kind of read through a lot of the bullshit, I feel like if y'all couldn't catch that he was like trolling us the last like 6 months, like come on. Like I feel like that was very obvious. And I even like mentioned something a few months ago, like, yeah, he's crashing out on social media, like he must be prepping for a release, because like, yeah, like duh, you know what I mean? And then Hailey posting that like little jab, like, see see what this was all about, y'all. Like you're fooled, you were fooled. But I just thought it was a very satisfying project. I love it. I would say my 3 favorite records are probably Devotion is my number 1, I have to say. Yukon, it has crack in it. I don't know what else to say. And Daisies is obviously great, but Devotion is like for sure my favorite song on the album. Anyway, if you haven't for some reason heard it already, I highly recommend you listen to it. It's really good. Yeah, anyway, I've been streaming it like crazy, like the whole thing, just like start to finish. But those are my 3 favorites for sure. Okay, on to the next. I was at Petco like a week or 2 ago, picking up probiotics for my cat. And there's like a section where they have cats like to adopt. Okay. I can't really step foot inside of a Petco without going in that section and trying to find the cats and say hi to them. It's almost physically impossible for me to not go say hi to them. So I did. and there were these adorable kittens in there, maybe like 6-month-old kittens. There were some adorable kittens in there, maybe like 2-month-old kittens. And there were 3 of them. One was like gray, one was like a white and orange, and the other one was like tortoiseshell. Oh, they were so cute. So I was saying hi to them. I was like, hey y'all, do you want like a 15-year-old sister? Do you want to come home with me and have an older sister? Like, I can't promise she'll be nice right away. Like, she'll probably hiss at you. Like, actually, most definitely. She'll be a little spicy grandma to you. But if you want an older sibling, so I was just chilling, talking to them, giving them little scratches and stuff through the little tiny holes. And then, like, I was talking to them, and these 2 girls walked by, and they were like standing next to me, also looking at the cats. These 2 girls overheard me talking to these kittens about, do you want an older sister? And they're like, oh, you have a senior cat? And I was like, yeah, she's 15. Like, she lost her sister like 2 years ago. So I'm not really sure realistically how she would do with a companion. But a kitten would probably be the only way we could do that, But we're like, probably not going to. We're just like joking about it, And I'm talking to these 2 women, and we're just like gabbing. We're talking about cats and pets and all this stuff. And for some reason, I didn't even notice at all. We're just talking, conversing. The girl's talking, and she says something along the lines of like, this one. And she pointed, and I straight up didn't even realize she had her like hand like this. Don't know how I didn't notice that. And there was like what looked like a blanket. Like, I thought it was maybe just like her jacket she was holding, or like her purse or something. But then she went like this, and I looked, and I was like, oh my God, she has like a blanket. And then peeking out of like one part of the blanket was literally the tiniest kitten I have ever seen in person in my life. It was so cute. And she said that her and her friend, they saw like near their campus, so maybe they're college students, or maybe they work, they're teachers. She's like, yeah, by our school, there's like this unhoused person that like lives kind of near it. And we walk past him, like to get to our cars and stuff. So we walk past him a lot. And we noticed one day that he had this really, really like newborn kitten, and he was like holding it in his hand. And we were like, oh my God, dude, look at that kitten. Like, it's so small. But every time they had, passed this man, he always seemed to be, either, he had psychiatric issues, mental health issues, or was under the influence of something. So they never felt like it was safe enough to like talk to him or, say hi to the kitten or anything. Then they unfortunately walked by one day and saw the man like really on something, like abusing the cat. Like, I don't even want to repeat what they said they saw. Like, it's just abuse. I'm not even going to go there because you could just imagine, So they said, you know what? We should, if we ever see him asleep, because they didn't think it was safe to like intervene. If we ever see him asleep, we're just going to take the cat. Like, why wouldn't you just like call the police or like animal control or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's something that could be done there to mitigate and like get the animal away from him in that moment. Because how do you know it's going to survive? But long story short, they ended up making the right decision because they said, okay, we're going to come back with like a guy friend, and they did. And I guess they crossed paths with him a few more times. And then like the second or third time after they saw that happen, they walked by and he was asleep. And the cat was just sitting in like the middle of the sidewalk, just like in a little ball, just on the cold, hard ground. Just like, oh my God, like this is our chance. We have to rescue it, So they rescued the kitten and took it to a vet, like an emergency vet, just to check if it had anything, if it needed anything, because they said its eyes looked kind of messed up. And it had already opened its eyes, which like is kind of abnormal for kittens that small. So clearly it had like been through a lot to the extent that it opened its eyes prematurely. But yeah, so they, the cat ended up being okay. They just had like a little eye infection. Gave it medicine, didn't have anything else wrong with it. And she's just holding this kitten and telling me this story. And I'm like, oh my God, that cat is so small. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And she was like, yeah, you want to like say hi? And I was like, hey, yeah. So she like opened the blanket a little bit more so I could completely see her face. And she just like looked, kind of just moved her head like towards me, because I was like talking to her like, hi, baby. And then they were like, oh yeah, she's really sleepy. She like just ate. And she kind of opened her eyes and like looked up at me, and I said, hi, sweetie. And I gave her like a little scratch, like a little pet right here. And I went like this like 3 times. And she was like, and she fell asleep. I was like, shut up. Shut up. That's the cutest thing ever. And they were like, yeah, she just ate. So like you could give her like 2 pets and she'd pass out. I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. And she just fell asleep right then and there. 3 pets in. I was like, oh my gosh. And like, God bless them for like rescuing her. Cause like, I don't even know what I would have done in a situation where, like that, like witnessing animal abuse. Like, I don't even know what I would do. Cause obviously if someone's like a danger to others under the influence of something, it's like you don't want to put yourself at risk, but like, oh my God, that would just be a really, really difficult situation for me to like immediately walk away from. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know what to do. I probably would like call the police or something, but it's like, is that even what you should do? Like, I don't know. It just makes me so sad thinking of it, but I can't believe that they were able to get her, successfully and safely. It's so amazing. So yeah, and now that kitten's gonna have like a nice, warm, cozy home, and she's gonna be like fed well, and like she's gonna be able to grow in like a peaceful environment now. Little baby girl. Okay, I have a very iconic grandpa moment to share right now. This shit was so funny. So 2 weekends ago, my mom and I drove up to visit my grandparents and my cousin in like slow Santa Maria area. The day that we got there, we went to Avila Beach and we kind of walked around. We got some food. We like did some window shopping, and then we went to like an ice cream place. They didn't have any non-dairy options, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna get a caramel apple because my allergy to dairy is not like so much that I'll go into like anaphylaxis, but like if I have a whole bowl of ice cream, I will not be comfortable. Let's just say that. Like caramel apples, like just like the smallest amount, like, but like a caramel coated apple is like not enough to really bug me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the chocolate covered caramel covered apple. Couldn't even eat the whole thing. I literally ate half of it one day and then I ate the other half the next day because it was insane, but it was so good. Anyway, so we get our ice cream and we go outside. They have like a kind of patio area in the front where you can like sit, and we go outside and my grandpa comes back and he's wearing a new hat. Like he wasn't wearing a hat when we like got there and when we like got to the beach or anything. He literally went to a store that was like a few businesses over and like a hat store and like bought a hat like while we were getting ice cream. We're like, what? And the hat's really nice. It's like kind of like Irish style cap, And we're like, oh, that looks nice, My grandma's like, oh, it looks like an Irish, my grandma's Irish. She's like, oh, it looks like an Irish cap. Like, it looks really good on you, She's like complimenting him. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's really nice. And then he turned around, bro. And it's a Kangol hat. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He did not just buy a Kangol hat, okay? For those of you that don't know, Kangol is like a super popular hat brand in the fashion world. It's like British, I think, owned, and It's like not luxury, but it's kind of like middle range hat brand, but it's super popular. Like, and it just made me laugh because I was like, oh, it's a nice hat. And then he turns around and I saw the logo and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You got a Kangol hat. I was just like, oh my God, dude, you're dripped up in Kangol right now. That's crazy. So I'm gonna put the video here because I was like laughing so hard. I could not believe that he just like disappeared while we were getting ice cream and stumbled into a hat store and bought this hat. He was like, yeah, guess how much it was? And we're like, I don't know. And this is before I saw the logo. I was like, $20, $25. This day and age, who knows, He was like, no, it was 60. And my grandma was like, oh my God, Walt. And I'm like, damn, $60 for like a hat like that. I feel like that's kind of a lot, And then he turned around and I was like, yep, that's why it's $60. I'm surprised it's not more. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny. Next segment of the pod, I do feel like is going to be kind of considered a hot take, I guess. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I was vegan for about 7 years. I recently transitioned, like I'm more like pescatarian now. I eat eggs, fish, and like try to abstain mostly from dairy because it's like doesn't agree with me. Prior to being vegan, I ate some fish like tuna, shrimp, but I was like kind of picky. I never liked salmon. I like literally always despised salmon. And I always liked like lobster and crab, but like mussels, clams, things like that was always kind of like to me also. Anyway, since being pescatarian again, I've been trying to broaden my fish and seafood palette, okay? I have since tried a bunch of salmon. I like salmon. I actually think I like cold salmon, like in a salad, more than I like a baked salmon, like warm. That's just like my personal opinion. Sometimes I make salmon salads just like I make tuna salads. I just like cook it and then I refrigerate it and I eat it cold. Just my personal preference. Although one of my good friends, had literally an entire freezer full of salmon that they caught in Alaska. And I was lucky enough to try some of that. And it was like insane, like literally insane. It was like and that was literally insane. It was like a sockeye salmon fillet. And it was just like, okay, this is what we're working with here. That's the way to do it, okay? But all this time, I never tried lox, okay? Also, I like sashimi, like raw salmon. I actually think that's my favorite way to eat salmon is raw. Second would be cold. Third would be like a sockeye fillet, wild caught in Alaska. You feel me? Period. But I was like, okay, wait. Lox is a thing. It's really popular. Let me see what the hype's all about. So maybe it was my bad because my thought was, okay, let me get some bagels at the store. Let me get some vegan cream cheese. I already had capers in the fridge. Let me get some salmon at the store and I'll just make lox myself. So I got smoked salmon that's like literally already pre-sliced, like 4 lox, and I like didn't buy the cheap one. I was like, I'm gonna do this right. If I'm gonna try lox, I'm gonna do it right. So I did make it myself, dress it up to a T, like the stereotype of how lox is served, and I did not like it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I actually hated it, unfortunately. But you know what I think it is? Don't give up on me just yet, okay? I did not like the smokiness, okay? So I'm going to give myself a second chance. I'm going to allow myself to try a non-smoked salmon lox, okay? But I don't know, I'm kind of borderline. I might not like do it that way. I might like go out and get it at like a restaurant or something because maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. I will go somewhere that has like well-rated lox. I don't know, like a Jewish deli or something like that, like a place that's known for its lox. So my ears are peeled. If you have any recommendations in the LA area, the best locks in LA, okay? I'm not sure if it's the smokiness. I'm pretty sure it was the smokiness because I've had smoked mussels before and I was like, like my body rejected it. So I think it's a smokiness. If you know of a place in Los Angeles that serves lox that is not smoked salmon, that's just cured, I'd be willing to try it. But I don't know, the other kind of turnoff to me was how salty it was. And it's like, well, yeah, the salmon is cured. There's like kind of no way around that, unfortunately. So I don't know if it's just like the cured salmon or if it's like the cured and the smoked combination that I was not a fan of. But I don't know. I'm willing to give it another chance. If you know a place that makes like the best lox in LA, let me know. I'm going to do a little research myself as well. Maybe I'll check out some TikTok reviews. But yeah, I'm willing to give it a second chance. But like my first initial reaction was like, no. And to be honest, my dad was like, oh, a lot of the times there's like sliced tomato under, like, bagel, cream cheese, sliced tomato, sliced red onion, salmon, capers. Some people put dill, whatever, lemon, like cracked pepper, different variations. But he was like, definitely like tomato and red onion. And I was like, well, I don't have red onion, but I have tomato. And the tomato, like, it was good. It was better, in my opinion, when I had like a bite with tomato in it. But I think just because the tomato balanced out the saltiness and it kind of like leveled that out. So I'm willing to give it another shot. That's all I'm saying. But as of right now, my verdict on lox is like, my silent review would be for lox. So you're welcome. Okay, baby. I have a pet peeve that I want to share. I went to Pershing Square with my parents this past weekend. It was like an 80s concert series. I was super overstimulated. I did in fact bring my earplugs. I knew it was going to be a long day of live music. It was also hot as fuck. So I was like, okay, let me prepare myself. I'll bring my earplugs just in case my parents want to stand right at the front of the stage by the speaker, so I can be prepared. Whoever was running sound at this event needs to pick a new career. I'm just going to leave it at that. The sound was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The bass was uncontrollable. I'm surprised it didn't cause the surrounding buildings to like shatter and crumble because the bass was so strong. You could like feel it like every time the kick drum was hit. It was like flinching. So first of all, the sound was shit, even with my earplugs stuffed all the way into my fucking ears. I was overstimulated. Like, I was trying to have a good time, trying to just chill, bond with my parents, but I was really not having it. I'll be so honest. Earlier in the day, before it was like unbearably loud to the extent that like I had to wear my earplugs, in between the sets, there was like a DJ that was like really, really like a horrible MC. But like the music when the guy was DJing was like not that bad at all. Bass was a little loud, but like I could handle it. It was like manageable. But like as soon as we got there, they kind of just had like music on and it was like kind of quiet because we got there like right when the doors opened. And then as the music got louder and we like sat down, I realized I was like, oh my God, like this sound is like ricocheting off of like a building somewhere. Because it's like in the middle of downtown LA. For those of you that don't know, Pershing Square is like literally like a park in the middle of downtown LA. You're surrounded by high-rise buildings. Some are old and like one of them looks like brick. It's like a hotel. And some of them are like modern. It's just like a mixed bag of like architecture and high-rise buildings. And the sound When I tell you the sound was ricocheting off of the buildings, and there was like at least a half-second delay, like an dotted eighth note delay for musicians, like a dotted delay, which is like, there has to be a very specific time and place for a delay like that. And it was like the entire night from when we got there till the music stopped and we left. It was like, not only is it loud and I have to wear earplugs, but I have to hear an eighth note delay the entire night, echoing back from the buildings. Can't stand it. And then it's like, once you hear that, you can't unhear it the rest of the night. Literally, you're stuck listening to that. And I was just like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. That's not the first time I've experienced that. I went to a concert like a year or two ago with some of my friends in San Diego at Petco Park. And there's like buildings. Obviously, Petco Park is like also in the middle of downtown San Diego. So like it just makes sense that I'd experience the same thing. There's a lot of buildings, but they're like further away, I feel like, than like the buildings at Pershing Square, like really close. But then there were like other kind of like structural buildings that are part of Petco Park, like where the restrooms are, where you enter to go to that like concert area. And same thing. As soon as the band started, I was like, oh my God, the sound is ricocheting and echoing back like a delay. And oh, it's just going to ruin it for me. Literally, that ruins a concert. And in my personal opinion, my humble opinion, I guess this is also one of my hot toddy takes, I do not think that you should like have concerts like in environments like that. Like, I think as soon as the first event, like if you like own a space like that, okay, and you book a musical event or like a concert, and then you realize that that happens based on like surrounding space that like you have no control over, it'd be like, we're packing up, and like music events are like a no-go. Because that's like literally the most nauseating, irritating thing in my life. And I could rant about it forever. Okay, last two segments of today's pod. I went on a really, really nice walk on Saturday down by the beach. And I walked like along the bike path, for those of you that don't know, like in Santa Monica. It was really, really nice. I started around the pier, and I did actually make the mistake of like parking in the pier parking lot, which I did not realize. Like summer months, it's like a day rate versus like other times of the year, you just like pull in and you get like you pay yourself at like a machine for like a certain amount of time. But summer, it's a day rate. So I kind of screwed up. I should have just parked at a meter like on Ocean and took the stairs down, but I didn't. So I paid $15 to park, which was stupid. I should have just been like, I made a mistake, can you let me pull out? But didn't. So paid $15 to park. Fuck it. It was for the experience. Do it for the plot, you know. I took an amazing like mile walk up to, I don't even know where, looped back around, and I decided to loop back around like in the sand and dip my toes in the sand. So I took off my Brooks and my socks, and I just like trotted. Ooh, it was like 9 a.m. something. And I just like trotted in the sand and in the water, dipped my toes in that cold ass Pacific Ocean. And it was such a nice like morning walk. And I walked along the coast like the whole way back to my car, like another mile. Walking in sand is like difficult to begin with, but then like that specific part of like north of the pier is like kind of slanted. It's not that slanted, but just enough that like one of your legs is like kind of flat, and then the other leg is like having to kind of tilt a little bit. So I did in fact, when the coast was clear, like switch and walk backwards for a little while because I didn't want to have to deal with like it being lopsided and being like sore only on one leg. But anyway, it was a great workout. So if you've never like taken your hot girl walk on the beach, like on the actual sand, if you just like stick to the path, like walk on the sand next time, walk in the water next time. Just like such a nice little vibe. I was like kind of paranoid that I was like getting like asbestos and like chemicals from like the fires. I was like thinking about that a little bit, like, are the waters like clean yet? Because I don't know. I mean, they like test them, but like, do I trust it? The waters are kind of gross anyway in Santa Monica, no lie. It's not like I go swim there or anything, so I was kind of like, ugh. Did rinse my feet off, obviously, before I like put my shoes back on and like wash them immediately when I came home. But I was kind of thinking about that, like, hopefully I don't get any like any chemicals. But it is what it is. A nice hot girl walk was really fun. All right, last segment to wrap up today's episode. I hung out with my friend Haley this past weekend. We hung out, got some food, and chilled at her place. And we're coming back from getting food. She's like, oh, let me show you something. She's like, oh, we have this tree back here behind our house, and there's always owls in this tree. I want to see if we can like find them or see them. We literally walked up to this tree and like instantly, like she pointed it out and there was an owl, and I was like, oh my God, that's so freaking cool. Because I hear owls in my neighborhood all the time. Like last night, my dad's like, do you hear the owls? And like from every room in our house, you can hear them. They're really loud because we have a lot of big trees on our street. But I never see them. We always hear the owls, but we never get the privilege of seeing them. So I was so giddy that I got to see the owls. And then one of them, there were actually two. One was like on like a higher branch, and he was just like eyeballing both of us like immediately, like, hi, Mr. Owl, we come in peace, you know? And then there was another one on like a lower branch that was turned, you know? Like we could see the back of its head. We couldn't see its face. And I was like, I'm an owl whisperer. I'm always talking to the owls in my neighborhood. You bet your ass I'm gonna try to get this owl's attention. So immediately, ooh, 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 I'm trying to like get the owl's attention. I'm pitch matching everything. And this one owl, after about 10 seconds, just does like the. I was like, I'm an owl whisperer. Oh my God, period. I'm an owl whisperer. And it looked at me, just like locked eyes at me, like. I was like, he's probably judging me because I like don't have the accent right or something. He's probably sitting there judging me like, girl, we can tell you have a human accent. You're 3 cents off, bitch. You're pitchy. Nice try. Anyway, I just thought it was really cool. I got his attention. I was like, period. Anyway, basically I'm an owl whisperer, so put some respect to my name. I'm gonna go wind down for the night, y'all. It's time for me to do my skincare routine, brush these teeth, wind down with some like brown noise, and sleep the fuck in tomorrow. Anyway, y'all, I hope you have a wonderful week and a fun weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.